Today, we're going to dive into a book that has for decades been a total game changer for anyone who's read it, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. And look, this isn't just some book you read and put back on the shelf. It's more like a user's manual for real life, designed to give you actual, tangible results. You've probably asked yourself this before. Why is it that one person can walk into a room and just instantly connect with people, persuade them, lead them, while someone else, who might have even better ideas, just can't seem to get heard? Well, Dale Carnegie figured out the answer. And it's not luck, it's not charisma you're born with, it's a skill. A skill that's based on a really deep understanding of human nature, which he just lays out perfectly in his 1936 classic. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the biggest hurdle in any human interaction, the ego. Then, we'll break down Carnegie's 3 big principles. First, why criticizing people is basically useless. Second, the incredible power of real appreciation. And third, the secret to making people want to do things. And then we'll tie it all together to show how it all leads to the real prize, winning trust. Okay, so first things first, we have to accept a pretty tough truth about people. We're not dealing with creatures of logic. Not really. We are dealing with creatures of emotion. We're all driven by pride and, vanity. Logic by itself almost never changes someone's mind, because that feeling of being important, that's the one thing everyone will defend no matter what. This right here is maybe the best metaphor in the whole book. It perfectly captures Carnegie's big warning. Think about it. Our first instinct when someone does something we don't like is to criticize, right? But Carnegie says that's like kicking over a beehive. You're not going to get the honey, the cooperation you actually want. You're just going to get stung, a lot, by a swarm of resentment. And that brings us to his first, and honestly his most difficult principle. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. It sounds so simple, but man, it goes against every single one of our instincts. Carnegie argues that 99 times out of 100, people will not blame themselves for anything, no matter how wrong they might be. And to prove his point, he uses this absolutely wild story. So picture this. It's May 7th, 1931. The entire city of New York is absolutely captivated by this massive manhunt. The target is Two-Gun Crowley, a killer who had shot a police officer in cold blood. He's finally cornered in an apartment. And I mean cornered. 150 police officers are laying siege, just blasting the place with machine gun fire. But in the middle of all this chaos, what's Crowley doing? He's writing a letter. And in that letter, he wrote this: "Under my coat is a weary heart, but a kind one that would do nobody any harm."
Now, Crowley is an extreme case for sure, but the psychology here is universal. Al Capone didn't see himself as a gangster. He thought he was a public benefactor. The warden of Sing Sing prison famously said that almost no criminals in there saw themselves as bad guys. They just rationalize everything. So if these guys don't blame themselves, what chance do you have with your coworker or your family member? Criticism is useless. It just puts people on the defensive, it wounds their pride, and it stirs up resentment that, as Carnegie says, will always fly right back home to you.
So the big takeaway here is we have to fight that instinct. Instead of jumping to condemn someone, just try to understand them. Try to figure out why they do what they do. That approach is so much more effective because it creates sympathy, tolerance, and kindness. It really gets at that old saying, to know all is to forgive all.
Okay, so if avoiding criticism is what not to do, its flip side is what you absolutely should do. There is a desire in every single person that is almost as deep and as powerful as the need for food or sleep. And what is it? It's the desire to feel important. It's a craving, and if you can tap into it, you hold the key to motivating anyone.
Check out this number, $1 million. Back in 1921, this was the salary Andrew Carnegie paid to a guy named Charles Schwab. That's more than $3,000 a day. So why? Was Schwab some kind of super genius? Did he know more about making steel than anyone else? Schwab himself said no, that he had guys working for him who were way better technicians. So what on earth could be worth $1 million a year?
This was his secret weapon. He was a master of people. He famously said, "I am hearty in my approbation and lavish in my praise." He just got it. He knew that the only way to bring out the absolute best in someone is to fulfill that deep-seated need to feel valued. And you know what? That is a power that you have right now. You can change someone's entire day, maybe even their life, with a few words of honest, sincere appreciation. It's something people are starved for, but almost never get.
But, and this is a huge but, it is absolutely critical to know the difference between appreciation and cheap flattery. They are not the same thing. Flattery is insincere. It's selfish. It's just telling people what you think they want to hear to get something for yourself. But appreciation, that's sincere. It's unselfish. It comes from the heart. One is counterfeit currency, the other is the real deal.
And this brings us to the third big fundamental principle. Carnegie says there's really only one way under heaven to get anybody to do anything, and that is by making the other person want to do it. Think about it. Pretty much every single thing you do is because you want something. So if you can figure out how to tap into what another person truly wants, you have the master key to motivating them. This right here explains the idea perfectly. When you go fishing, you don't bait the hook with strawberries and cream just because that's what you like. Of course not. You use worms because that's what the fish wants. It's just common sense, right? And yet we forget this simple logic all the time when we're dealing with people. We talk about our wants, our needs, our goals. But to influence anyone, you have to start seeing things from their point of view and frame everything in terms of their interests.
So how do you actually put this into practice? Well, it's a simple little three-step process. First, before you make a request, just pause. Think. Second, ask yourself this one crucial question. How can I make this person want to do it? And third, frame whatever you're asking for in a way that highlights the benefit to them. You don't get your kid excited about kindergarten by saying you have to go. You do it by talking about all the fun they're going to have, the new friends, the games. You arouse in them an eager want to go all by themselves.
This quote just nails it. It's not about forcing your will on people. It's about alignment. If you can do this, if you can genuinely get someone excited about an idea, you have the whole world with you. And if you can't, well, it's going to be a pretty lonely road. Okay, so let's pull all this together. These three principles aren't just a random list of tips and tricks. They're all connected. They're part of a single, really powerful philosophy for how to interact with people. And together, they are the foundation for every good relationship you'll ever have. So here it is, the Carnegie Trinity. First, you clear the path by refusing to criticize because that just builds walls of resentment. Second, you build a solid foundation by giving sincere appreciation, which makes people feel important and seen. And third, you inspire action by connecting what you need with what they desire. See how each one builds on the last? It's a system. And here's the most important part of all. When you start to actually live these principles, something incredible happens. People don't just start cooperating with you. They start to genuinely like you. They begin to trust you. And why wouldn't they? You've shown them respect, you've made them feel valued, you've considered their point of view. At the end of the day, real influence isn't about winning an argument. It's about winning trust. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. How would your life, your job, your home life, your friendships, how would it all change if the people around you really felt like you heard them, you valued them, and you understood them? Just try for 1 week. No criticism. Look for something to honestly appreciate in everyone, and always think about the other person's wants first. It's a small shift in perspective that Dale Carnegie proved can absolutely transform your entire world.